Tyson says he's going to bet £1 million on Jake Paul knocking out Joshua.
This is what I'm saying. How's that work?
He can't, can he?
Anthony Joshua could knock Jake Paul out with his. So if it goes any other way, you know.
You give me a headline there, by the way.
If it goes any other way, you know it's fixed, don't you?
Oh, Anthony Joshua now?
I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua's.
So he wants to fight Anthony Joshua in 2026.
And the haters online are like, yeah, do it.
Well, they're like, what about now?
Yeah.
They're like, what about fight him now?
What you know about the fight, Jake Paul?
I hate it. And Jake Paul's starting to piss me off.
Jake Paul's boxing journey has been full of bold call-outs and headline-grabbing matchups, but now, the YouTube star-turned-prize fighter may be staring down the most dangerous challenge of his career, Anthony Joshua. While Paul has built an impressive following and collected a few notable wins, boxing experts are sounding the alarm, warning that stepping into the ring with a two-time heavyweight champion like Joshua could be a disastrous move. From Joshua's knockout power to his elite experience against the best in the sport, analysts believe this matchup isn't just risky. It could end Paul's boxing run brutally.
Jake Paul has reached out to Anthony Joshua a few times. I've spoken to Nakisa, Jake's manager. It's never a fight we anticipated. It's never a fight we've targeted. But if you want Jake Paul to be the warm-up fight, and obviously financially it's a great opportunity for AJ, and you want to provide AJ and probably in turn Matchroom with the opportunity to extinguish Jake Paul from the world of boxing, then maybe AJ will oblige.
In a recent interview, Matchroom boxing promoter Eddie Hearn stated that Jake Paul is absolutely the frontrunner to be Joshua's next opponent. He acknowledged active negotiations between Joshua's camp and Paul's manager, Nakisa Badarian. Hearn also noted the matchup is extremely dangerous for Paul, but emphasized its massive commercial appeal. As things stand, he believes the bout is likely to take place in early 2026.
Jake Paul's manager here last week, and he's open to the fight. Any developments on that?
Lots. I mean, this bizarre world that we live in, I think Jake Paul is absolutely the front runner to fight Anthony Joshua next. I'm here in New York for meetings about that fight. There's an open dialogue between myself and Nakisa, an MVP. I don't know what to tell you, Bridgie, other than it's mental. I mean, I can't sit here and tell you this is a 50-50 matchup. The whole thing is bizarre. I think it's extremely dangerous for Jake Paul. I've got the general feedback is the boxing world saying, please, AJ, go in and evaporate this young man from the boxing world so we can all get on as normal. You've got Jake Paul fans thinking bizarrely they can beat Anthony Joshua. And the most bizarre thing out of everything is that Jake Paul genuinely believes he will beat Anthony Joshua.
Paul also hinted that a showdown with Joshua is looking very likely for next year, revealing that the two have been exchanging DMs, and Joshua even called him to push the idea forward. Paul echoed that conversation, saying Joshua suggested staging the fight toward the end of 2025, with a full bout expected in early 2026. Badarian reinforced that timeline, confirming active discussions are underway for a monumental matchup.
Now, I know you're after a world title, but if that doesn't materialize, I know the Tommy Fury name has been floated about. Is there any other fighters who may not be world champions that you're looking to face?
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Joshua.
I think that's the main one that, we've talked a lot about is if it's not for the title, it's looking at Tommy, if he's reasonable, and then Anthony Joshua. And he's adamant that he wants to make that fight happen at the end of 2026.
Anything's possible. And so I like the challenge. People, that's the criticism. Fight someone in their prime who's a beast. I think people just want to see me lose. That's really what the message is behind it all. And Anthony Joshua is an insane fight, but I want that challenge. We've been DMing back and forth. He wants to make it happen. He called me up, and it's looking very likely for next year.
Jake Paul has positioned a potential Anthony Joshua fight as a revitalizing force for boxing. He believes the matchup would inject fresh energy, attract new fans, and generate significant global attention. Paul likens himself to a breath of fresh air in the sport, asserting that his mainstream appeal can draw younger audiences who might not typically follow traditional boxing. Paul emphasizes that boxing needs revitalization, and his presence can help achieve that by bridging the gap between mainstream entertainment and the sport's traditional audience.
But you said it's you and Joshua here. Now, is this fight done? What are we talking about?
You know, it's going to happen. Like, seriously, it's going to happen. We were talking with Turkey tonight, negotiations live in person, which are always fun. But it's going to happen, and it's just such an exciting fight that crosses the whole globe. When you ask a lot of people about certain boxers, they don't know their names. And everywhere I've been going, I just talk about Anthony, and I don't have, you know, I'm global. So it's just such a good fight for the sport of boxing. And people will think I will die, but I will show them why I can rise against all odds and beat him.
Everyone's been wanting to see happen. Who will be the king of the United Kingdom? And who will be the queen of the United... Too soon? I'm praying that boxing doesn't happen to this fight. And what I mean by that is politics. People trying to take more money than they deserve. Fuck the money. Get in there. Make fucking history. This is one of the biggest fights that could happen over this past decade. Make it fucking happen, Eddie Hearn. Make it fucking happen, Frank Warren. Make it happen, Tyson. Make it happen, Anthony Joshua. We don't need fucking excuses. Don't let boxing ruin this fight. Get in the fucking ring and fight like men.
The boxing community and fans have expressed strong opinions regarding Jake Paul's challenge to Anthony Joshua. Many believe that Paul's ambition to fight a seasoned heavyweight like Joshua is unrealistic and overambitious.
Right, the real deal respond to me as I tweeted my thoughts about delusion, which again, I think is more about what Jake said about Anthony Joshua and what he'll do to him. That was the more delusional aspect of this. Amanda Serrano said, at Jake Paul is the truth. Funny, they say he's a fraud for wanting easy fights, then he asked for the toughest fights ever, and they say he's nuts. Listen, he was scheduled to fight Canelo Gervonta, and now he's calling out Joshua. Come on, who else is doing this? Oh, crap, on second thought, he is out of his freaking mind, you're right. That was more of just Amanda backing her guy, you know what I'm saying, the co-founder of MVP and someone that she really respects in Jake. But in the middle there, I don't know if she would know or, you know, whatever, but she essentially says that Jake was scheduled to fight Gervonta Davis, and she's not the only one saying that. Dan Rafael said the same thing earlier that day or maybe yesterday. I can't believe that that's true or if that was really going to happen. Essentially, the idea being, had Gervonta Davis beat Lamont Roach, he was going to fight Jake Paul next. And this is why I say, like, it's delusional.
Critics argue that Jake Paul's recent actions, including his victory over 58-year-old Mike Tyson, highlight a troubling trend in his boxing career. Many view his choice to face an aging legend as a spectacle rather than a legitimate challenge, casting doubt on his commitment to the sport. Notable figures like Carl Frosch have dismissed Paul's performance as lacking genuine skill, suggesting that his success is more about entertainment than athletic prowess.
Jake Paul, you've lost your mind if you think you can go toe-to-toe with Anthony Joshua. Listen, let's not get confused, guys. Let's not get confused. Yes, cool. Anthony, he took a big L with Daniel Dubois. But Daniel Dubois is not no joke, bro. He's not a joke. Do you know what I'm trying to say? He took a L there. But Jake Paul, I got the utmost respect of what he's done, how he's managed to navigate through the boxing world. Like, bro, it's so mad. And I can see this is like a 90%. It's happening, it's positioning, it's marketing already. Like, why would you see Jake Paul go face-to-face with Alexander Usyk if it's not to position for a fight for Saudi? Obviously, Jake Paul's going to fight Anthony Joshua. There's possibly going to be a Usyk against Tyson Fury 3 because obviously the last two were so close. But you never know. It can also be a Usyk against Derek Chisora. Do you know what I mean? You never know.
Eddie Hearn recognized the buzz a clash with Jake Paul could create, but issued a stark warning that Paul should tread carefully. He labeled Paul as bold, perhaps reckless for chasing a bout with Joshua, a proven heavyweight powerhouse. While the financial rewards for both fighters would be enormous, Hearn stressed the severe danger in pairing a novice like Paul with a battle-hardened veteran. He didn't mince words, calling the matchup a potential disaster that could derail Paul's boxing journey entirely, whether through physical harm or public humiliation. Despite the hype such a showdown would generate, Hearn made it clear that the risks far outweigh the spectacle.
Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua, 50-50 fight. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I just said in another interview, great if it is. I mean, if it is, then you've got no problem seeing it. But when AJ, I mean, decapitate's a strong word, but you know, when he renders Jake Paul unconscious like he did to Francis Ngannou, don't then say, oh well, it was Jake Paul. Do you know what I mean? I mean, when AJ beat Francis Ngannou, Ngannou just had a fight that could have gone either way with Tyson Fury. Then AJ poleaxed him, and everyone just said he's just an MMA fighter. Do you know what I mean? Jake Paul's not Francis Ngannou. But as I said before, if you want to see Jake Paul exit the boxing world, make the fight.
Let's talk about AJ ever so quickly. I watched Jake Paul at the weekend. I feel a bit dirty saying that because I'm not a fan of his, but he did say after the fight that he's sort of having DMs or he's dropping text messages to AJ. They're having a chat about a potential fight. What's your view on that, Eddie?
Well, look, he's calling out Gervonta Davis, who is a 135-pound lightweight, and he's calling out Anthony Joshua, that's a heavyweight monster. I think Jake Paul is crazy enough to fight Anthony Joshua because the money would be absolutely obscene. It's a catastrophic mismatch that people would tune in to watch because it would lead to the end of Jake Paul. Hopefully not literally, but it's that dangerous that, you know, it's a fight that I don't think should really happen, if I'm honest. I would say about Jake Paul, and I've said this in a couple of interviews today, I do think you start after giving him a margin of respect. You know, I think this guy is going through the motions, he's putting the hard spars in. He just went 10 rounds with, yes, a washed-up fighter, but a former world champion that did train for that fight. But they're very clever in terms of the opponents that they pick. They're not going to gamble unless the money's out of control. And it wouldn't surprise me if Jake Paul, wanted to move forward with an Anthony Joshua fight. Honestly, AJ's coming tonight. He's not exactly looking at Jake Paul going, oh, that's my dream opponent. No. Would he go in there and give him a hiding for, you know, a massive chunk of money? Probably. I'd be saying, yeah, go on. I'd like to see it.
Andre Ward has weighed in on the situation, saying that boxers don't get frustrated when someone like Jake Paul calls out legends. Ward said that if it happened to him, he wouldn't take it seriously and added, I don't have time to entertain the circus. Ward's comments suggest that he sees Paul's fights as more of an entertainment act than a real boxing competition. Many professional boxers have shared similar opinions, saying they don't think Paul's fights are legitimate.
I understood where Canelo's coming from. Anybody for that matter. If, like you said, if you've been in a fire, how dare anybody come to me and act like I'm supposed to fight you and, you know, you're a YouTuber that turned to boxing and I'm a champion walking around here and y'all acting like I need him. Do you think they're justified in feeling annoyed when people come at them like that about Jake Paul?
I understand completely where Canelo's coming from. If I was an active fighter, I wouldn't entertain it either. You know, when you in the fire and you still in the game like that, you got real issues and beef going on. You got real opponents, like dudes that can really hurt you, that you need to figure out how to beat them and when we go fight and all that kind of stuff. I don't have time to entertain the circus. I don't have time for you to have my name even associated with a dude that ain't really a fighter like that. So I understand completely with it. He ain't got a lot of time to entertain that kind of stuff. But you know how it goes, Stephen A. People say they're not interested in something until that number get large enough and all of a sudden start making a lot of sense.
Dave Farrar and Spencer Oliver spotlighted the fiery public debate over a potential Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul showdown, sparked further by Saudi boxing chief Turki Alalshik. During a segment at Wembley, Alalshik all but greenlit the clash, revealing that Paul has already verbally accepted and even agreed to a staggering 99-1 split in Joshua's favor. He framed the potential matchup as a win-win legitimacy test.
Where are you on this nonsense?
Where am I? I can't see it happening. I can't. Although, yes, lots of money, so on and so forth, I can't see it. I just can't. It just, obviously, as someone who's been a unified heavyweight world champion going in against Jake Paul, it doesn't sit right. Yeah, and it's like, I'm also talking from a health and safety factor. It's like he's maybe a cruiserweight. Yeah. I think Joshua's a very big, strong heavyweight, and if he turns it on, it's not just a risk of a knockout. It's a much bigger risk. So I can't see it personally, but it's good talking point, I guess.
Boxing icon Roy Jones shared a surprising take on the potential Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight, one grounded more in prudence than excitement. While Roy agreed the fight could happen if Joshua was genuinely interested, he emphasized that it must be a smart move for Joshua both in terms of competition and financial gain. Recognizing Joshua as a legitimate former world champion, Jones confidently remarked, "Did you see how Anthony Joshua handled Francis Ngannou? Jake Paul would face the same outcome."
I want to change subjects just a little bit here. And Anthony Joshua, there's rumours circulating he could be fighting Jake Paul next. One, do you think it's good for boxing? And two, do you think the fight will happen?
I think it's great for boxing. I think the fight will happen. AJ is 1-0 against these guys that come in to these boxing careers late. So why not? He's a perfect guy to take him out too. He took Ngannou out. Why would he not take Jake Paul out? And for him, he probably make more money fighting Jake Paul than he will fight anybody else that he can fight right now. So why would he not do it? I mean, not that he needs the money right now anyway, but if he's going to do something, if you want to get a good win to put him back on the scene, that's a perfect win. You get a lot of money doing it.
Tyson Fury has made a bold prediction regarding a potential bout between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua. The former heavyweight champion believes that Jake Paul would knock out Joshua, stating, "Jake Paul chins AJ, 100% I'd back him." Fury views the matchup as a legitimate 50-50 fight and has even gone so far as to wager £1 million on Paul securing a victory. Fury's comments have sparked significant discussion in the boxing community, with many questioning the validity of such a prediction. Jake Paul responded by expressing confidence in his abilities, stating he would test the bet, offering £10 million on himself to win the bout.
So Tyson Fury just comes out with an interview saying that he thinks Jake Paul will knock out Anthony Joshua. I think this is probably like a troll attempt to get Anthony Joshua to fight Tyson Fury, but then again, I don't know. Maybe Alexander Usyk did more damage than we thought. I think Jake Paul knocks him out, Fury told Ring Magazine when asked about Paul versus Joshua. I just think Jake Paul would knock out Anthony Joshua out. I think Jake Paul is on the rise. I like his new heavyweight look, a bit chubby, a bit bulky, getting there. And he just did a great job over the aging. I mean, fool's like almost 40, you know, and he like was not a fighter for a long time or a boxer, you know. He's just in it for the check and the name value of his dad, you know. Aging Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., he was a middleweight, but still. I like how Jake Paul calls out the full spectrum from featherweight to heavyweight. Who'd he call out? Tank Davis and Joshua? That's just crazy. I see Richter scale call-outs. Exactly. I will say, I don't know, Gervonta Davis could beat him too, even though he does outweigh him by like 60 pounds.
Stephen A. Smith has long been critical of Jake Paul's choice of opponents, often labeling them as non-boxers or fighters past their prime. In response, Paul defended his record, stating that he attempted to fight Tommy Fury, but that Fury declined the bout. This remark highlights a pivotal moment in Paul's boxing journey. While he has secured victories over former MMA fighters and seasoned boxers, he has yet to consistently defeat emerging, active boxing talents. His loss to Tommy Fury in February 2023 marked one of the rare instances where he faced a current boxer in their prime. Smith has openly criticized Jake Paul for choosing to fight boxing legend Mike Tyson. Smith argues that if Paul is serious about boxing, he should compete against opponents of his age and caliber, rather than calling out seasoned veterans like Anthony Joshua, who possess significantly more experience. Smith's critique centers on the belief that for Paul to gain legitimacy in the boxing world, he must face opponents who are active and comparable in skill and experience.
You are beating up on dudes who don't box. They're not boxers.
I was on Disney Channel while these guys were winning UFC championships.
Okay.
You know, I was playing with Mickey Mouse while these guys were throwing arm bars and winning UFC championships. Everyone's, you know, analyzing my career, critiquing it, paying attention to it from day one, but you can't tell me who was Mike Tyson's first fight. You can't tell me who Muhammad Ali, who was his fourth fight. No one knows, but everyone's seen all of my fights. I tried to fight Tommy Fury. Yeah, I tried to fight Tommy Fury, and he backed out due to a rib injury. Undefeated, young prospect. He comes from the Fury family. You know, his brother's the heavyweight champion of the world. I tried to fight him, and he got scared.
Despite the criticism, Paul said his ambition to fight extends beyond boxing. as he has also expressed interest in fighting MMA star Conor McGregor. Paul has claimed that his boxing skills are improving, while suggesting that McGregor's abilities are declining with age. This assertion has been met with skepticism, considering McGregor's combat sports background and accomplishments. Paul's comments reflect his confidence and his strategy of challenging high-profile athletes to elevate his standing in the combat sports world.
I can't buy the hype at this particular moment in time. Now, I'll give Jake Paul credit for this. At least he's in the ring with a boxer. But 57 years old is 57 years old. And 57 years old and formally walking into a UFC fight as an audience member, as a patron with a cane, it's hard to me believe a year later that you're going to be in any condition to really, really fight. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't know. And if you're Jake Paul, here's what I want to say to you. It's Mike Tyson, that's fine. It's a money fight, I get you, and you want to make money. But at some point in time, if you keep telling us that you're taking boxing seriously and you want to be recognized as a big-time boxer / fighter, you're going to have to fight somebody closer to your age, who is a contender at the very least in the sport and who lives with it every single day. Could you please get in the ring with somebody? Pretty please, with sugar on top. I'm interested.
Do you think Jake has what it takes to go toe-to-toe with a heavyweight champ? Or is this fight way too risky for Paul? Drop your honest thoughts below.